Hi folks, Tris here. Thanks for listening to Modem Prometheus, and thanks especially to all of you who have joined our Patreon. We don't run ads, so the whole podcast is supported by you. If you'd like to help out, head over to patreon.com/Modem Prometheus. Members get free merch, early access, bonus episodes, and a lot more exciting stuff. Today is the first part of A Day in the Life, and is about making sacrifices.
"5:45 a.m. The alarm clicks on, flooding the room with the early morning business news. Elizabeth woke up 3 minutes ago and has been waiting for it. Beat you again, she thinks, and waves a hand smugly through its sensor band to shut it off. The first time she heard her company, Streetwise, mentioned on the broadcast, she'd immediately phoned Lucy and they'd squealed like schoolgirls. These days, it's pleasant, but not unexpected, and she doesn't bother to wait and see. She goes straight into her morning stretch routine. Cat-cows, squats and hip switches, a sequence her personal trainer had told her will work the major muscle groups in the shortest possible amount of time, before dressing. Her style is business, smarter than smart casual. Not quite a full suit and tie, but better than any of her employees are likely to wear. The team all call her Beelzebeth. They believe that she does not know this, and would not like it if she did. They are wrong on both counts, and so today she chooses a red button-down. She always tries to make sure there's some red in her ensemble, ever since she discovered the nickname. In the kitchen, she pours herself a long cup of black coffee. Through the day, she'll have espresso, since it gets the job done so much faster. But during the first cup of the morning, she likes to relax. The remains of last night's takeaway still rest on the counter, the only sign the kitchen has ever been sullied with food. She ignores it. The cleaner will be here in a couple of hours to tidy up. As she drinks the coffee and scrolls through the news on her phone, another piece on John Barnett's rising poll numbers, something about the astrophysics department of the university detecting a strange signal, a report on rising crime rates, she gets her first phone call of the day. It's from Ellie, just like it always is. Her assistant phones at 6:05 a.m. sharp with a run-through of her daily schedule. She must get up even earlier than Elizabeth does. "Hi, boss," Ellie says, before launching straight into business. There's no pleasantries with Ellie. She likes to give the impression she's already at the desk, even though Elizabeth is sure she's sat at her kitchen table, her hair a mess, and still in pyjamas. It's one of the reasons Elizabeth likes her so much. "I got a problem with the schedule this morning. Jonathan Barnett insisted on shifting his meeting earlier. It's now happening at 10 a.m, which ordinarily wouldn't be an issue, but today..." "It's going to overlap with the investors," Elizabeth says. "God damn it. One day I'm going to rip that man's gears out and wear them as earrings. I've tried contacting the investors to rearrange, but..." "No. I appreciate the initiative, but we never let the investors think they're second place. I'll split the pair of them with Lucy. One of us can take the investors, the other can have Machina. What else is there?" "Well, that's quite a packed morning." Ellie gives a weak laugh. "I've put in a 2-hour focus block for you around lunch. I know you've been trying to find time to go over the infrastructure updates. And then Murton wanted to speak to you, so I've put half an hour in your calendar for him. There's a call with the payments team at 4, and I've left the rest of the day free for unnecessary stupidity." Elizabeth smiles at that. Unnecessary stupidity is their term for everything else on the calendar inevitably overrunning. "Thank you, Ellie." "No problem. Oh, Ellie sounds unsure about this next item, which isn't like her. "I don't mean to, overstep here, but I was checking Lucy's calendar to see when I could block out some time for the pair of you for this upgrade review next week. She's got an interview in today. This morning, just after your daily one-to-one. I could have sworn it wasn't there a couple of days ago, so I just wanted to see if you knew about it." "What? No. Who booked that in? Who's it with?" "Business leader. Looks like some trade mag. Comes out twice a month. I'll ping you the website link. Print, huh? How quaint. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Elizabeth hangs up and rubs her forehead. It's not yet 6:15, and this is already promising to be a day. "6:48 a.m. The Uber arrives at her door in time to get her to the office for 7:30. It's quite a commute from Applewood into Central, but she can check emails as she goes, and she prefers living somewhere she can have some space. There's notably fewer homeless people on the high street than there used to be, she notes with some amount of concern. Types a note to herself to look into the overall figures. Her inbox has notifications of the meeting set up by Ellie, and an email from Murton requesting an extra half hour after the booked slot for debrief time. Debrief? She mutters to herself, and scrolls through her messages to see if there's any context she's missed. She can't imagine what kind of meeting would require an immediate follow-up meeting. But then, Murton is head of cyber, and so has to fill his days somehow. He probably just wants to whine again about Elizabeth letting Ellie have her admin access key, as if Elizabeth is actually going to reply to all her emails herself. She doesn't have much time for the man, but he was Lucy's hire, and Lucy knows more about this stuff than she does. She also searches for anything about Lucy's interview, and comes up empty there as well. She arrives outside the Streetwise building at precisely 7:28 a.m. It's not one of the skyscrapers, not yet. It is, in fact, relatively modest for a company with as much buzz around it as Streetwise. But the difference is that Streetwise own all 6 floors, plus the 2 basements. Other startups rent flashy offices. G and Lucy knew to succeed, they needed their own real estate. She waves to Carl, manning the reception desk. John Barnett's coming in earlier than expected. Are we good to go there? She sees Carl give a slight grimace, quickly suppressed. Yes, we got the note. I've already got their passes prepared. Great. We'll probably get anti-Machina protesters outside. Don't worry about them, but try to make sure nothing gets too rowdy. Okay, I'll get some extra security in the lobby. Thanks. And don't worry, I hate the ticking bastard as well. But he's a big client. We've all got to make sacrifices. Carl gives a weak smile at the platitude. Oh, before I forget, have any journalist passes been issued for today? Possibly recently? Carl taps for a few seconds into his keyboard. Yeah, we got one for Tessa Cunningham, valid from 8:30 to 12, floors 4 and 5 only. Who authorised that pass? When was it signed off? Carl shrugs. I just get the list. I don't put it together. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. She files it away as a future problem. Someone has been circumventing proper channels, and so that someone needs to get pushed into a blender. But she's got more important things to deal with this morning. The investors will be here, and she can't suppress a shudder at the thought. "8 a.m. Ellie is waiting outside Lucy's office with 2 lattes in a carry tray and a paper bag of pastries from Marge and Tyler's. She hands them to Elizabeth, then opens the door and slips away. In the early days, Elizabeth would go round to Lucy's flat each day and bring coffee and pastries as Lucy worked on what would become the first version of Streetwise. And Elizabeth put together business plans and pitch decks. She doesn't think Lucy is under the illusion that it is still Elizabeth fetching the coffee and pastries, but it's nice to keep up the tradition. "Sup, bitch?" Elizabeth says as she enters. This is also a tradition. Lucy waves, distractedly. She's reviewing some of the ritual components that have recently been pushed to GitHub. She doesn't need to do this. These days, Streetwise have hired the best summoners magic can buy, and thanks to the investors, have access to some of the even better ones it can't. But she still likes to keep her hand in, and as the original architect still sometimes catches things that have been missed. Elizabeth waits patiently for her to finish the review she's working on, munching on what appears to be some kind of raspberry Danish. Since it's from Marge and Tyler's, it won't just be raspberries. Elizabeth doesn't know how they do it, but their pastries always seem to make her better focused, or more relaxed, or more insightful. Ellie chooses whichever attribute she thinks will best suit today's schedule. "Okay," Lucy says, and closes her laptop. She smiles brightly. "Hello." The first topics are the most important ones. John's shifting of the meeting time and the clash with the investors. "Ugh, I'm sorry." Lucy buries her head in her hands. "I completely missed that email. I thought he was still coming in this afternoon. Which one do you want me to do?" "Can you take John? I don't trust myself not to say something a little too honest to him. I think he needs us too much to drop us, even with the data issues we've got, but it'd be painful if he did, and I don't want to risk it." "Yeah, of course." "To be honest, you don't need me in for the tech stuff in the investor chat anyway. You've got Hamad in with you, and he knows more about the upgrade than I do. You think you'll be fine not to backchat the investors?" Elizabeth shudders. "There are absolutely no circumstances in which I would ever backchat an investor." Streetwise's LLM is absurdly popular and mostly accurate, giving users their own personal city guide. But the money is in synthesizing those user inputs and the information the LLM collects about the current city-state into data streams, and selling those to corporates and politicals. This last one is why John Barnett is here. He's seen his poll share soar, at least in part, due to smartly employing Streetwise's data service. The other political parties are now starting to wake up to the potential and also becoming customers. But he was first off the mark. Despite these early successes, his team have been in more and more frequent contact about deficiencies they found in the data stream. Rally lines, which their model predicted would swing voters 3 points in Machina's favour, have fallen flat. Micro-targeting campaigns based on Streetwise's assessment of individual street sentiment have bombed. Ellie suggested the personal meeting and facility tour as a way of smoothing some feathers. "And there's no way we can patch it in the meantime?" Elizabeth asks. She sees Lucy's mouth twitch and holds up her hands. "Look, I know it's not my area. That's an honest question. I know the plan is we put this upgrade in place and that'll fix basically all of it. But we're already running a long way over schedule with that, and people are getting antsy. I just wondered if there's any way we can make what we've got work a bit better before it's done." "Not really," Lucy says. "This is an all-or-nothing project. We can't do it piecemeal." Lucy runs into an explanation of the differences between the current LLM and the new system, and all the areas they've run into which have caused difficulties. Most of it goes over Elizabeth's head, but she knows Lucy wants to show she's on top of everything. Not that it's needed. She's probably the smartest person Elizabeth's ever met. "Okay," Elizabeth says. "I've got an idea. And I'm pretty certain it's a terrible idea, but it's still an idea, so I want to say it out loud and see what you think. We could offer them a version without some of the guardrails, like our build. Maybe not all the way, but some of it." Lucy looks mildly horrified, but considers anyway. "No," she says eventually. "That is definitely a terrible idea." "Yeah, thought so. Never mind." As Elizabeth gathers up her documents, Lucy asks what else she has on today. "Usual stuff," Elizabeth shrugs. "A few meetings, Martin wants to talk about something I probably don't care about. Finally got a bit of time blocked out to review the infra work. Oh, and I'm on dinner lady duty today. Lucy grimaces. Already? Only so many of us in the C-suite. We've all got to have our turn. Yeah, I know. I just don't like that we have to do it. It's the biggest failing of the current LLM. She sighs. But we've all got to make sacrifices. We do. Oh, what's this interview about? What? Lucy looks at her calendar. Oh, crap, I forgot about that too. I don't know, some puff piece thing? Who organised it? I did, apparently. I don't remember it, but it says it was added by me. I must have done it weeks ago. Sorry, whatever process was in place there, I clearly didn't follow it. Elizabeth is about to say something else when there's a knock at the door. It's opened by Lucy's own Ellie. You're 9 o'clock, he says. Hi. Lucy gives the journalist a 100-megawatt smile. Great to meet you. We'll talk later, Liz. Elizabeth nods and turns her best Beelzebeth glare on Mike for the interruption. He wilts, satisfyingly. She's only just reached her own office when she gets a phone call from Ellie. Jonathan and his crew have arrived early. I'm meeting them in reception. Elizabeth curses and heads that way too. "9:04 a.m. She hits the lobby at a stride, moving forward before the elevator door has even finished opening. The stairs would probably have been faster, but that would give the impression she was rushing. And she doesn't want to give John the impression that he made her rush, especially when he has. John is standing in front of the reception desk with a small collection of besuited clockwork people. They move in sync, looking at the same thing, adopting the same pose. Actually, she notices they're not quite in sync. John himself is consistently a couple of ticks ahead. Ellie is already there, trying to calm him down. Carl has shrunk into his seat in an attempt to become invisible.
Utterly ridiculous,
John is saying.
I know grits are never going to have things running as smoothly as cogs, but I'd hoped we'd get at least partway through the day without a screw-up.
Ellie's mouth twitches at the casual slur, but she doesn't call him out. Instead, she says, I know, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure how this could have happened. Let me see if I can find a meeting room you can wait in, and I'll fetch some coffee and breakfast. John's head ratchets towards her.
Waiting is inefficient.
Elizabeth steps in and says, Jonathan! How nice to see you again. As if she really means it. John turns to her, and a couple of steps behind, his entourage follows.
Ah, the big guns. Elizabeth, do you have an explanation for this failure?
Your failure to tell the time? I'm afraid not. I thought that was something you clockwork people were likely to excel at. Still, we all make mistakes. She shouldn't have said that. She knows she shouldn't have said that. Ellie's eyes have gone wide, and she's trying to very subtly wave her finger across her throat in a cut-off gesture. But Elizabeth has never had time for people trying to make out their mistakes were actually someone else's fault, and she has no intention of starting now.
We have arrived at the time requested, only to find that not only were you not expecting us, the passes did not even allow us into the building for another hour. This sloppiness is not, at this time, making me confident in your ability to handle the data work we pay you for.
I have a suggestion, Ellie says, before Elizabeth can speak again. Why don't I take John and his team on the facility tour now? They can see the LLM, meet some of the team, and then see Lucy when they're done. It'd be more efficient. Elizabeth purses her lips. The passes are time-locked. The doors won't recognise them. We could remove the time lock. I know it's policy to always have specific windows, but exceptional circumstances.
That does sound like a good use of the available time,
John says.
Very cog-like thinking.
Elizabeth shakes her head. Okay, yes. Carl, could you? There is some tapping from the invisible man and a thumbs up to indicate it is done. Ellie motions the collection of cogs towards the elevator with a smile. Before she follows, Elizabeth murmurs into her ear. Keep an eye on them. They've got freedom of the building. They can't be unsupervised. Don't worry. On it. Good luck with the investors. Elizabeth shakes her head again as they leave. That wasn't professional of her. She's never been good at holding her tongue, but she's usually better than that. Thank God for Ellie. She returns to her office to prepare for the day's real problem. The investors are coming. "10:37 a.m. Elizabeth is not easily impressed, but she has a sense of wonder when watching Hamad talk to the investors. Most of the summoners on the team wouldn't be able to handle this. Something about the presence of the investors causing their skeleton to want to be in a different room to the rest of their body. It took Elizabeth several meetings to suppress it. Just looking at it still makes her stomach clench a little. It's like a child's drawing of a man. A child who, somehow, had never actually seen another human being. The limbs are all in the wrong proportions. The fingers, which are thoughtfully steepled, are the length and width of pencils. It wears what half her brain insists is a business suit, and the other half insists is a cloak made of fear and destitution. The mouth moves out of sync with its words. More concerningly, the face moves out of sync with its head. Features glitching back into place half a second after it moves. She still isn't sure if what they're talking to is an investor or the investors in some gestalt whole. And Hamad just doesn't seem to care. She assumes it's because Hamad is one of the resources on loan from the investors themselves, from somewhere high in the skyscrapers, and this is, in a way, true. Hamad, who still has nightmares about a girl with too many teeth who had a penchant for making tea, shrugs it off like a war veteran shrugs off a water fight. The really important thing, Hamad is saying, is that everyone is calling this an upgrade. It isn't an upgrade. We're integrating an entirely new system. It's like, this isn't a ship of Theseus job, you know? We're going from like this old trireme straight into a missile cruiser. Nothing about it or the support structures is the same. It's not even in the same category as the existing LLM.
I see,
says the investor, in a voice scratchy with static.
And how are you employing AI to speed up the process?
We're not, Hamad says, shortly. I don't know what happens when you prompt ChatGPT with summoning rituals. And if anyone is trying to find out, I hope they're doing it somewhere in Antarctica.
But surely the coding work.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hamad waves a hand dismissively. The devs are all using it for that side, Copilot and some custom agents they put together, but that's not the bottleneck. Coding is toddler shit compared to the summoning rituals required. Elizabeth can't hide a small smirk. She has never once had the nerve to interrupt an investor. The investor itself doesn't seem bothered, as much as it's possible to tell. Hamad hasn't been replaced by a puddle of fizzing red goo, so that's probably a good indicator. She lets him run through the technical details of the upgrade, the containment and firewalls, interjecting where necessary or asking her own clarifying questions. Hamad consistently answers smoothly and confidently, which reassures her. even if the actual content of the answer often goes over her head.
Are you confident in the new Modem?
The investor says.
The data streams we receive are good, but not perfect. We estimate a 7.89653% inaccuracy rate based on trading losses that were made as a result of those calls.
Yeah, absolutely, Hamad says. Fundamentally, what we've got at the moment is a GIGO problem. Garbage in, garbage out. The analytics and collation systems are really good, but the problem is we're working with an imperfect snapshot of a chaotic system. The existing LLM is incredible, probably the most complex thing I've ever worked on, but it just can't deal with the full city-state, and we can't update it quick enough.
And the new system fixes this.
The new model's basically guaranteed to be 100% accurate. There's nothing happening in this city it won't know about, by definition. You can ask it anything, it'll know. If we really want, we won't even need to run the public-facing system anymore. The user inputs won't even be required. The challenges are all around containment and installation. It's no good at knowing this stuff if we can't extract the data. The investor nods, thoughtfully.
We should still keep the Streetwise app. It has provided many excellent restaurant recommendations.
Definitely. Elizabeth jumps in. That was the original point of the company. And we can still offer paid subscriptions as an extra revenue stream. The app isn't going anywhere. And the new system will make that better as well, Hamad says. Real-time info. No mistakes. The current version told me the other day the final party didn't exist, while I was at the final party.
You went. Was it good?
Hamad shrugs. It was fine. Didn't live up to the hype.
Do you have reliable timelines?
The investor asks.
We have seen your numbers. Your burn rate is increasing.
This is Elizabeth's cue to take over. She knows that the investor doesn't mean it's looked at the latest quarterly accounts. It means they are spending its money, and when they do, it knows every penny. She talks through their current runway and income streams. It feels weird, discussing profit and loss with a creature like this. But this is no apocalypse cult. The investors want to see their assets swell, and they want the Streetwise data streams to inform the buying and selling that makes the skyscrapers hum. So, the one in the penthouse, of which the static-drenched figure in front of her is but an avatar, feels the worship of markets made. And that means, on this topic, they talk the same language. 2 hours after the meeting started, the investor stands. Not as a movement, just by glitching into place, and bows to the pair of them slightly.
Thank you for your time. Our concerns about your timeline remain, but we are pleased with your progress and dedication.
Of course! Elizabeth steels herself and shakes its hand. For the next few days, she will feel as if it is covered with spiders. It's a mission, but we've all got to make sacrifices.
So we have heard.
As they leave the meeting room, John Barnett and his entourage go past, being led by Mike. She sees the investor turn its head to follow their progress. They've just had a meeting with Lucy, she says. Privileges of being a big client. I can set up a meet and greet, if you like, since you're both here.
No,
the investor says, mouth glitching in distaste as it watches John's back.
we don't work with monsters.
12:35 p.m. Elizabeth allows herself a few minutes in her office to take some deep breaths after the investor meeting. She wonders if Hamad, for all his easy bravado, will have to do the same. She does not think to wonder what horrors have led him to treat dealing with something like the investors like any other management meeting. She pings Lucy on the company Slack. "How did it go with John?" "It was fine. Didn't sugarcoat anything. Explained current issues, how the upgrade will fix them, what areas are most likely to give them accurate results right now. Don't think he was exactly happy, but seems to think we're on top of it." "How was the investor meet?" "Honestly, better than expected. That Hamad guy is fire. Didn't like the timeline extension, but we knew that already. Also loved the upgrade plans." "What's next?" Elizabeth looks up. Isn't really sure why. If there's anything she should be praying to, it probably isn't up there. "Dinner lady duty." Sad face emoji. She can't put it off any longer. The LLM is a hungry beast, and it's not like they haven't made improvements. Lucy's original ritual was 3 times as resource intensive to keep it running. The team have done great work in increasing the efficiency of that early alpha, and the upgrade will eliminate the need for it entirely. As she enters the elevator and hits the button for the sub-basement, she wonders idly if the mayor, or John, come to that, will actually appreciate their removing it. She's pretty certain they see it as a feature rather than a bug. The LLM chamber is behind a locked, reinforced door, with a guard permanently posted outside, who she nods to as she passes. She can hear the hum of its processing through the wall, a faint drone that puts her in mind of beehives. As she understands it, that's not a terrible comparison for how it actually works, though she doesn't really understand it that well. But that's not where she's going right now. She's going to another, far smaller room next door. This room is clean and minimalistic. The only bits of furniture are a small table, on which sits a tablet computer, a toilet and a sink in the corner, on which stands a small bottle of mouthwash, and a bed, above which is a button. In the bed is a man. Just about a man. He's 20 years old at most. He turns his head towards her slowly and gives her a dreamy smile. His eyes are half closed, the pupils pinpricks. She picks up the tablet and switches it on. It's a document about the man in the bed. His name is Chris Brunson. He is, in fact, 21. He was kicked out by his parents 2 years ago and has been on the streets ever since. She reads about his life, his grades, his hobbies. Promising guitar player, it seems. She doesn't want to do this. But it's her process, hers and Lucy's. It's important that this is a person, a real person, not just a data point. Then she looks at the button. There is a whole subdivision of the company for this. Undeclarable acquisitions. They find the people. They do the research. They bring them in and dose them up on morphine. But the C-suite need to press the button. They need to know about these people and still press the button. Lucy said it was an integral part of the summoning, this knowledge, and that's what they tell the others. It isn't true, as she drunkenly confessed one night. She just thought it was important the C-suite could look this job in the face. Elizabeth doesn't care. She would have done the same thing. She looks at Chris once more and pushes the button. The wall behind the bed opens up and the bed slides into the passage. It will be taken into the LLM chamber and in about 20 minutes return again. Empty. Elizabeth dashes to the toilet and throws up in it. then rinses out with the mouthwash. Soon enough, she thinks, it won't be necessary. Until then, they all have to make sacrifices. She stands up and smooths down her suit jacket. Okay. Time for lunch.
Modem Prometheus is written by Neil Murton, the voice of the city is Gina Sneesby, and is directed and produced by me, Tris Oaten. For free merch, bonus episodes, and behind-the-scenes content, support us at patreon.com/Modem Prometheus. If you're not ready for that kind of commitment, please rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this right now. The conclusion of A Day in the Life is due on the blue moon, the 31st of May. Don't read the news today. Oh boy.